Hey everyone, I'm here with a channel. Today we are talking about Deadpool and Marvel Comics. In particular, where should you start reading the Deadpool comics? How did Deadpool get his powers? And how has he died in the comics? Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. The first place would be at the beginning. That's always a good place to start, right? Well, in this case, yeah, it is. This run was written by Brian Posehn and Gary Duggan with art by Tony Moore. It's definitely a fun series to pick up. There are some great character moments in it, and I recommend it for anyone just getting into Deadpool. But that isn't the beginning of the character. That's just one interpretation of the character. But there's another story that came after this that's equally important. On the cover was Wolverine. Deadpool remembered Wolverine from the Weapon X facility and knew that Wolverine could help him recover his lost memories. This story was written by Fabian Nicieza with art by Rob Liefeld. Fun fact, this is the only issue of the New Mutants that Deadpool has ever appeared in. All other appearances have been in solo series or team-up issues. Unfortunately, Wolverine refused to help. Then Deadpool met up with a mutant named Blindall and she helped him regain his memories. During the battle, Deadpool was stabbed by the Sword of the Hand's leader, the Lord of the Hand. Deadpool's healing factor couldn't save him from the wound and he died as a result. To make matters worse, the Lord of the Hand resurrected Deadpool and turned him into a member of the Hand. Deadpool's mind was put into a catatonic state as a result of this, but he was eventually freed from the Hand's control by Cable. You might want to read issue 97 too, because that introduces Blindall. Deadpool was transformed into a baby as the result of a curse placed on him by the villain known as the Clown. After he reverted back to his adult form, he was de-aged once more by the villain known as Shifter. Deadpool was killed by the villain known as the Daken, but he was later resurrected by the mutant Hope Summers. Deadpool was returned to his normal age by the superhero team known as the Avengers. But if you're curious, Deadpool was killed by the villain known as Mysterio in Deadpool number 50 from 2018, but this death was undone in Deadpool number 51. Deadpool was shot by the villain known as the Time Bomb, but he saved Cable from certain death. He was cured of vampirism by Wolverine. The Hood used a device that amplified Deadpool's healing factor, causing him to explode. However, Deadpool managed to survive and was resurrected by the demon Nashstand. If you're only counting the deaths that stuck, then the answer would be 8 times. But if you count the time he was de-aged, then you can add one more. Personally, I don't count the times he becomes a different creature or a different person. Like, I don't count when he became a werewolf or a vampire, or when he was possessed by a demon. Those aren't deaths, those are transformations or possession. The only time my lines count something like that is when he was turned into a living corpse by Nejno Orb. Deadpool was fused with the Inhuman Lockjaw and sent to Spidey Heaven after he was mortally wounded by the villain known as Koba. Let me know in the comments what you think Deadpool's best death is. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and if you want to help support the channel, check out our support page. Until next time, I'm here reminding you that with great power comes great responsibility. Luckily, Deadpool was restored to his normal form by Spider-Man. Sadly, Nashstand took control of Deadpool's body after resurrecting him, forcing Deadpool's spirit to wander the Earth for a time. Eventually, Deadpool was able to regain control of his body and defeat Nashstand. Deadpool's body started to shut down as a result of the wound, and he entered stasis, which is basically a form of suspended animation. Deadpool was brought back to life by his fellow X-Force members, but the experience left him mentally unstable and physically disfigured. Eventually, Deadpool was cured of his mental illness, but his appearance remained changed. Plus, Blindall is awesome and deserves her own series. Seriously, Marvel needs to do something with Blind Doll. She's been relegated to being Deadpool's roommate, basically his property. As a result of being stabbed by the mutant Sabretooth, Deadpool's healing factor went into overdrive, causing his body to melt. He was later reconstructed by the combined efforts of Wolverine and the mutant known as Rockslide. And I think she can do better, just saying. Together they discovered that Deadpool was actually Wade Wilson. When Wade Wilson was turned into Deadpool, he was kept in the Weapon X facility until he escaped. Yeah, it's weird that he dies in his first appearance. That wasn't planned, it just kind of happened. Anyway, at the end of the issue, Deadpool was mortally wounded by the villain called the Mutant, Toad. However, thanks to his new healing factor, Deadpool survived the encounter. He didn't remember anything about his past life, not even his name. He called himself the Merc with a red leather face mask until one day he came across a poster for the movie Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He decided that the name sounded cool and used it. Wade Wilson, the man who would become Deadpool, was born in the fictional city of Annapolis, Massachusetts. We learned this in Deadpool #1 from 2013, so when it comes to the Deadpool comics, there are multiple places that you can start. Now, I say #1, but really it's more like issue 37 of the series. From there, you can move on to other series and crossovers that Deadpool has been a part of. And there are a lot of them, but let's talk about how he died in the comics. It also sets up the Weapon X program, which we know Deadpool was a part of, but we don't know that yet. You also have to realize that at this time, Wolverine had lost his adamantium skeleton. So if you're wondering where Deadpool got his metal skeleton from, this is another reason to start here. After the events of Civil War, Wolverine took on a mission to retrieve a package that was being transported by the Weapon X program. That package was Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool. In this story, we see Wade fighting against an assassin known as Maverick. If you want to see how Deadpool came to be, then you need to go back a few issues, starting with issue 34, which shows us Wade Wilson before he became Deadpool. Maverick didn't know that he was infected with a strain of the Weapon X virus, which gave Wade the ability to cure himself of his cancer but turn him into a mutant. Along with Maverick's blood, Wolverine used some of his own and injected it into Wade, helping him transform into Deadpool. As a side effect of the procedure, Wade gains a healing factor similar to Wolverine's. Also during this time, Wade was given a new outfit made out of Wolverine's old suit. Maverick is killed by Wolverine in this fight, but not before giving Wade enough of his blood to use to cure him of the cancer he is dying from. Now this is a great place to start if you want to see how Deadpool came to be. Later, he came across a comic book store and saw a copy of the New Mutants. Now, if you want to see that story, you will need to read the New Mutants number 98 from 1991, which features the first appearance of Deadpool. I feel like that's worth noting because apparently Deadpool is not a fan of the New Mutants. But if you want to see Deadpool kind of created, I'd recommend starting with either of these two runs. Well, Deadpool has died a few times in the comics, but the first time he died was in the New Mutants number 98. The next time Deadpool died was in X-Force number 119. In this issue, Deadpool was fighting alongside X-Force against the terrorist group known as the Hand. And speaking of Cable, Deadpool would die again when he tried to save Cable in X-Force number 141. The fourth time Deadpool died was in 2009's Deadpool number 50. Deadpool was terminally injured after battling with the villain known as the Hood. The fifth time Deadpool died was in 2012's Deadpool number 6. The sixth time Deadpool died was in 2013's Deadpool number 25. The seventh time Deadpool died was in 2014's Deadpool number 36. The eighth time Deadpool died was in 2015's Deadpool number 47. Deadpool was transformed into a vampire by the villain known as Dracula. The 9th time Deadpool died was in 2017's Deadpool number 30, and the 10th time, well, I'm not really going to count that one because it was reckoned almost immediately. So how many times has Deadpool died in the comics? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button.